Previously on Dandies in Danger.
Piles of cords stack the middle of the orlop deck. I think there's something here. When you move the cord aside, there's a small rope tied in a very intricate knot. Is this what one calls a sailor's knot? It does kind of have a weird sort of shape of a human. There's some kind of magic in here. I think somebody who isn't magic should be holding this.
I can hide it in my uniform.
Daniel now has the rope.
I think we should keep an eye out on that man that we saw go down there. If he looks suspicious, then we'll know it was him that put it down there.
Everybody makes it back to their quarters. Daniel, when you head back into yours, Alan still seems to be awake. He has this strange sense that Alan does not like him.
I'll bury him.
The next time everybody is conscious, Alan sort of steps forward and says, "Can we talk this evening? 10 bells, quarterdeck."
Okay, either he has a crush or this is a trap.
Daniel, you see above Alan some hazy, handwritten spectral writing. You can't quite make out what it says because the cursive is so tight. He makes his way up to the quarterdeck, and by now, Zachary and Liam are also put to work with the rest of the ship hands when another very strange, strong gust of wind blares, and it rips through one of the sails. It whips around so quickly and so fast that it hits one of the sailors just dead in the face. You just watch a man fall. And Daniel, the moment you get up on deck, there is suddenly a man right in front of you. Blood gets on your shoes. People start screaming, "He's still breathing!" And they take this person and get him down to Adrian's office. "Doctor!"
Adrian turns and he vomits.
"Are you pissed?"
No!
He needs to stitch him closed. And the man says that he can't hear. Consciousness slowly fades from his eyesight. He's still breathing. He's just passed out. The ship has taken a sour turn. Hi, my name is Haile. My pronouns are she, her, and I play the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hi, I'm Cass, pronouns she, her, and I'll be voicing Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, pronouns he, she, they, and I am playing Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, my name is Toast. My pronouns are she, her, and I play the voice of Adrian Edwards.
The ship has taken on a somber tone, even well into the evening, and carried over past 8 bells into dinner time. The din of the middle deck is softer, perhaps in respect to the sailor who is currently resting above. They have not had word from the doctor yet on what has happened, and are all eating either very quickly to get the food out of the way, or very slowly, thoughtfully. Life on a ship is dangerous. Everybody knows this, but no one likes to talk about it. And Liam gets this notion that he has seen this before. This was not the first accident, but he doesn't know why he thinks that. Zachary sits across from him, not saying much, but seeming to struggle to get food into him. He is one of those who is eating very slowly. "You okay?" says Zachary to Liam.
Yeah, well, about as much as you might expect, I suppose. I don't suppose you've heard anyone say what that lad's name was, did you?
Shakes his head. "I don't... Do you think Adrian can handle it?"
Well, he seems to have some knowledge. And now I don't know how any of us know how to do what we're doing, or why you don't. But hopefully whatever it is that's given us this knowledge will see him through.
Suddenly, and all at once, interrupting the thoughtful silence, there comes a voice. Jimmy's voice starts quiet at first, and rises up into, "Aces up your bloody sleeve, he has!" There's a roar as several other people at his table also stand up, holding Jimmy back and holding someone on the opposite side of the table also back. Alan, who was down there at the time getting food, looks over and says, "Sit down, both of you. Anyone throws a fist and the officers will get word, I swear." Jimmy squares up and looks at the private. "Yeah? There should be some punishment in store for the man who keeps aces up his sleeve," he says, looking at the man across from him. The man's name is Ringer. Very short beard, mostly stubble and patchy. He has short, mousy brown hair and deep red under his eyes. And he looks back at Jimmy and he says, "I ain't even got sleeves right now. Sit down and play a decent round, will ya?" "I'll show you a decent round," says Jimmy, who gets up to try and throw hands again. You can hear a pair of heavy boots coming down the steps. A hunter, dressed in his uniform, in his normal cloak. It seems like he hasn't even taken off anything to relax for his own dinner. What's all the noise down here, huh? Everybody in the middle deck turns. The private salutes the hunter. At ease, says Garrick. Alan looks at him and says, just a row, sir, over cards, an argument. Garrick eyes everybody. Jimmy seems like he wants to throw hands, but is keeping even himself from doing anything out of line. Well, keep it down, says Garrick. I may not be your direct CO, but I don't think your captain would mind me taking care of rule breakers down here. Got it? Everybody who is being addressed nods. Alan goes away with Garrick. The table with the card players sits down again. There is an even worse stillness in the air than before, and a quiet silence in the middle deck. Zachary looks over at Liam, but doesn't seem to want to be the one to disturb the silence.
Liam is gonna lean forward and in a hushed voice say, can you see the one we mentioned last night?
His eyebrows raise, and he remembers the burly, dark-haired man from before. Oh, and he looks across the middle deck and sees the man sitting there. He's not talking. He hasn't even really touched his food.
Is he sitting near anybody?
He's sitting near two other people, but he doesn't look involved with them.
Okay.
The man gets up, and he brings his food to the galley, as if he's not going to finish it. Cook whispers a shame, and wastes the food, as the man, whose name you don't remember for some reason, walks away, and starts heading to the lower gun deck.
You should chase him.
Liam's not gonna jump up immediately, not until their free hour, but Liam's gonna give a pointed look to Zach.
Zachary gives a nod. Daniel, you were eating probably in your quarters as well. You might have heard noise that was happening downstairs, and you did hear a hunter, or you heard heavy footfalls at least, head down the stairs. Not much else really happens, but Alan comes over to you and whispers, 10 bells, right?
Daniel nods.
He then leaves the quarters. Adrian, how are you doing?
Bad. How's the guy doing?
The guy is still asleep.
Okay. Has he been awake at all?
Have you been attempting to wake him up at all?
Yeah?
He has been awake every time you have woken him up. He was awake for the rest of the day, and it seems that he's in the clear to possibly fall asleep and actually get some rest.
Okay, well then while he's resting, Adrian's in the corner in the fetal position, probably crying.
There's a knock at his door.
Ah, fuck. He tries to wipe his face really quick, and he stands up and he goes to the door.
Standing there is the second lieutenant. You remember his name now as Sean Fitzgerald. He looks at you in your state, because you've obviously been crying, even if you managed to wipe your face. He tries to stand a bit taller, as if trying to shake off the shock. And he says, I'm here to retrieve the prognosis, I suppose you would call it.
Adrian doesn't go, Can I ask you if he's if I know that he's gonna be okay, or does Adrian not know that for sure yet?
It's a concussion. It's a concussion for sure. I will say that having examined him and having a brief knowledge of concussions, this man has lost his hearing. You do not know if there is blood pooling at the back of his head. You don't know if an aneurysm is imminent, but he seems to be breathing fine. He just can't hear.
Hate that. Okay, Adrian basically tells him as much.
He nods, hearing what Adrian is saying, and he says, rather grim.
Yes, it is. But that's a doctor's life.
Every chance he gets to confirm that he is a doctor, he takes it.
I have heard other troubling news.
What? What could it be?
Now this is rather serious, he says, and he comes into your office and he closes the door.
Welcome.
Not that it makes much difference.
Yeah.
Looks at you and he says, I heard that you were inebriated when he was brought down.
I wasn't.
You were not?
Where did you hear this?
From the sailors that brought him down.
Well, they were in a bit of shock, I would imagine. They were very alarmed when they came in. I can tell you I was in fine condition. Can I use my persuasion?
I feel like Adrian has disadvantage for any sort of charisma or persuasion.
Now, because I'm a Claude, I forgot if I've given you base persuasion.
No, but I mean, you gave me this special move called Doctor's Orders.
Okay. You know what? Yes. Yeah.
I feel like this is the kind of situation it is for.
Yes.
I'm just saying, no, I was totally fine, and they were in shock. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. If that's the angle you're gonna play it at.
Well, my base persuasion's 1. This is gonna go really well, and I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, so here's the thing with that. Your skill says it can be done twice per cycle, so you can only pull this stuff twice. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what the cycle means later. So Because you're doing a skill, now it's just a luck of the roll. So you're not going
Okay.
up against me, you're just going up against your own luck. So if you're gonna do your skill, and you rolled a 1,
No, that was for my base persuasion.
got it, okay. So now your base persuasion doesn't count towards this roll.
Oh, great.
Which is good, because that means if you just get a 2 or a higher, a roll of 2 or higher is a successful bluff, but you can only use this twice per cycle.
Great.
You'll let us know when a cycle has ended and started, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you guys will know.
Oh, good.
All right. So,
Okay. I'm gonna roll to bluff
okay.
Fitzgerald.
Yep.
I'm so nervous. Please. Oh, I got a 2.
Okay.
I got a 2.
He looks you over. He doesn't seem like he wants to argue. He might not believe you, but he doesn't seem like he wants to argue. You have to understand, he says. You are the only man on this ship who has any knowledge of putting together our men if they somehow fall apart.
Any? No one else has, look, that's, I know, I am well prepared for that sort of thing because I am a doctor, and I would never put a patient's life in danger with reckless acts such as drinking in the daytime. So, I understand that. Yep, it's a very big responsibility, and I understand that.
He looks at the floor, and
He's cleaned up his vomit.
there's still bloodstains
Thank
along
God.
the floor. And he looks back at you and says, there was report of vomiting.
From who? Who?
The sailors.
One of them must have been sick, I suppose.
With a disappointed sigh, he doesn't say anything else. And he turns and he leaves.
No. God, Adrian feels like shit. I hate this. I hate it.
Yeah.
He goes back to his corner.
10 bells ring, and we shift to Daniel's perspective. Alan is not in the quarters. What does Daniel do?
Aren't they patrolling the quarterdeck?
The 2 of them?
Somebody.
People who patrol. They were doing it up on the exposed top deck. People patrol there, right?
There are...
But Alan wanted to meet up there.
That's correct. There are 2 officers. No, not officers. Privates.
Sometimes I patrol up there?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so I should,
Oh.
so maybe sometimes, so me being up there is not.
It's not weird, no.
Okay, then he goes up to the quarterdeck and looks around for Alan.
Alan is standing by the furniture boats.
He kind of casually makes his way over to him, hat under his arm.
Alan gives him a nod, and the 2 privates, who had been patrolling the upper part of the deck, now go down to start their below-deck patrol. He turns to Daniel fully and he says, how are you after today?
Daniel thinks about it, shaken but steady.
You've always been sturdy. He scratches the back of his neck.
What the fuck?
He thinks about that and he wonders, like, how much does Alan know me?
Ooh.
Why is he suddenly all nice?
Why
What
is
the
he so
fuck?
nice?
Can Daniel see any, like, lyrics above his...
Nope,
sorry,
that's gone.
Writing above...
No, the writing above his shoulder is gone.
Gone.
He takes a moment, he takes a breath, he looks around, and he says, I wanted to apologize for the other day, for all the tripping and the comments, and he wrings his hands. I was worried we were starting to get too friendly, and people were...
Daniel has a history with this guy!
I thought maybe if I... Sorry. That sight today, it made me worry. If anything would have happened to us, when we catch up to that strange ship, my head's a mess. But you know that.
Does Daniel have any knowledge or affinity or, like, feelings for this guy?
Daniel is Daniel.
Okay, so he doesn't remember anything.
Daniel knows information about the ship. He knows people's names. He just can't remember who these people are besides knowing them on the first day he met them on the first, yesterday.
His brain is definitely telling him that he and Alan have fucked. And he blinks and thinks about it for a moment, and then he, like, shakes his head and he says, yeah, it really puts things into perspective.
You could say that.
What do you think we'll find when we catch up to them?
To the ship?
Yes.
Nothing, hopefully. That would be the best. Some strange SOS light, with only a report of spotting the outline of a ship. That doesn't make you nervous?
You don't want to find them?
Them. They brought hunters here. Is there even a them, or is this some kind of trap?
But why would they sacrifice so many men?
So many sailor hands, you mean? Just a handful of Marines, not really enough? Just some people? I don't know.
It is suspicious.
To say the least.
Do you have any plan?
Plan? We're stuck on a ship in the middle of nowhere. What sort of plan would I have? No, I only just... Daft of me. I was relieved to see you on this ship with me. Now I'm just terrified. But if we were to go out, at least we'd go out serving together.
Serving.
This guy is such a killjoy.
You be quiet, that's my boyfriend.
Well, never mind. You seemed rather cross with me, and I am afraid I've taken up most of your time. I just wanted to know if I'd done anything to damage our friendship.
Is he handsome?
I don't know. Roll for handsome.
Because Daniel's gonna be very biased if he's handsome. Okay, if he's looking, then he's gonna be like, yeah, he'll still be cold to him. If he's handsome, he's gonna suddenly be his boyfriend.
I don't know. That depends on Daniel's... What the fuck is this conversation?
I got a 19. I rolled for handsome for you, and I got a 19. So...
Oh, okay. Well then, Daniel gets very nice.
Yeah, sure. We'll say... Yes, that's
I'm
in
so
canon.
excited to learn that Daniel is so superficial.
We already knew this.
We knew this.
Yeah, he lives fast, he dies young, he has a lot of flings. He tends to go after people he's attracted to, so...
So he gives Daniel a nod, and it seems like he's about to walk away.
He catches his arm.
Stop it.
Oh, fuck.
He stops,
Daniel.
of course, and he turns to him.
I forgive you.
Alan gives a thankful nod, and he says, Right, let's do all we can to make it out of this, shall we?
Daniel nods.
Tomorrow, then, we'll see what happens. Stay safe, please. For me. Don't do anything stupid.
Daniel, kind of fishing for a little more information, says, when have I ever done anything stupid?
Please. And he smiles rakishly and draws his arm back and continues heading downwards.
Interesting. My very handsome, rakish boyfriend,
Jesus Christ.
who I didn't even have to flirt with.
Oh my god.
He just landed in my lap. Thanks for the boyfriend. Hey everyone, it's Chess. I'm going to keep this short because I know you want to get back to the story. Toast has thankfully been editing out not all, but most of our shenanigans, but if you'd like to hear those shenanigans, we post our bloopers on the $5 a month level on our Patreon. That's at patreon.com/dandiesIndanger, all one word, and I've been posting original music as well as musical analyses for what went into the music writing process. This coming Wednesday I talk about a painting that inspired the Pentagram Waltz in Arc 1, and the bloopers are already up. Music analysis is on the $10 level, and bloopers are on the $5. And of course, if you're at the $10 level, you also get all the stuff underneath it, so you'd be hearing the bloopers too. For those of you who are already supporting us on Patreon, thank you so much. We are saving the money to better fund our show, like buying a pop filter for the mic and having some of our art printed to be sold as posters, and you're helping us reach those goals. If you want behind-the-scenes scoop, but you can't afford to support us on Patreon, we have a Twitter called Behind the Danger, but right now it's shortened to Behind the D, and I can't figure out how to make it not that, so until I can, it's that. We post silly things that are too silly for our main social media, so if that interests you, give it a look at Behind the D, all one word. If you love the show and you'd like to support us but you can't donate to our Patreon, you can help us by spreading word of our podcast. Share these episodes with your friends and family, and if you hate the show, you can share it with your enemies. Either way, we thank you. And with that, let's get back to our lovely getaway cruise. I'm dying to see what happens next.
Were Zach and Liam able to go after the guy with the dark brown hair after they finished eating?
So far, all Liam did was give Zachary a look. I
Okay.
don't remember if you guys had a time. If you want to sneak out at 10 at night and do the thing, like if Liam at some point when everybody's asleep wants to tell them that, or you can let me know and we'll do it.
You wanted to follow him during free time, right?
Yeah, but I think perhaps my significant look was lost on Zach, so perhaps we'll do it another time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Everyone goes to sleep pretty soundly that night. Even Adrian, if your consciousness is keeping you up or anything like that, you somehow manage to find sleep very easily that night. The next day, 8 bells rings. Everybody gets up. Liam, do you feel like you're any better at tying your hammock?
It's a little bit easier to get up on the second day, and Liam's actually gonna start with Zach's hammock, actually. He's gonna get up so that he has time to tie Zach's hammock, and then he goes back for his.
Zachary is so much relieved, and he looks over at Liam and he says, thank you so much.
Liam just winks and goes back to tying up his hammock.
They all go, and they put their hammocks down, and the boatswain is waiting
That bitch.
for Liam and Zachary, as everybody else goes and gets their breakfast. He looks at the hammock, he inspects it. Very nice, says the boatswain, picking up Zachary's hammock. And he takes it off the pile and he throws it down and he says, do it again. And Zachary looks at him and goes, what?
I hate this man.
The boatswain leans in and goes, do it again. Zachary gets down and scrambles and starts untying it, and it all comes apart. Liam, are you anywhere close by?
Yeah. Oh shit, what is Liam gonna do? I think his heart rate is gonna go a little bit faster because he sees what's happening. And crap, I think I've hesitated so long that Liam is just gonna be like looking around frantically. Is there anything in the room to make a distraction?
You hesitated too long, indeed.
Yeah, I thought so. I
And
thought so.
Zachary is tying it up as best as he can, and he's shaking, and he's a little out of it and scared, and he makes a mess of the hammock. And the boatswain picks Zachary up by the back of his shirt and says, I knew you couldn't do it. Oh, had some help, did you? He looks at Liam. Oh, was that you? You wasting your time, eh? You have time to waste, you're so important that you can go around helping everyone else.
Liam is actually starting to get a little bit incensed now because nobody's ever talked to him like this in his life. And so he's gonna say, well, what difference does it make if I help him with his hammock? It gets tied all the same.
Ah, you dirty little red-headed rat, he says, going over to him. You think you're so important, he says, lifting up his whip, that you can just spend time with whatever crew member you want helping people when we've got a whole boat to run. You're no one special. You're just a rigger, he says, and he pushes Liam back with his bundled up whip, and he pushes him back with such a force that he intends to kind of catch Liam off his feet a little bit.
Liam is gonna step back a few steps. He's not going to resist the push, but he's gonna stick his hands behind his back, and he's digging his fingernails into the palm of his fist. And he says, I don't mind waking up early every morning, sir, if I can help him get it done.
Well, that makes me feel like we've got a weak point in the ship, don't we? Bit of a weak crew member, he says, looking back to Zach, who flinches at his gaze. Maybe you don't mind, he says, looking back to Liam. I do. I like to keep a tight ship. I like to make sure we don't have any loose ends. Maybe if someone was a bit stronger, maybe a bit faster, he says, looking back at Zachary, no accident would have happened yesterday, eh? Zachary gawks.
It was the wind, sir. We all saw it.
Oh, it was the wind. It was the wind, eh? Really? Tie it up again, he says to Zachary. And he looks at Liam and he says, Galley's passing up food. You might want to stuff something in your face before I crack you over the head.
Liam is gonna take a step back, but he's gonna be looking at Zach full of panic. But he's still hesitating. He's backing up very slowly.
Go on. Be a good little ship hand.
Liam digs his fingernails into his palm even further, but he doesn't want to aggravate him anymore and get Zachary in trouble, so he's gonna say, aye, sir. And he's gonna back up and he's gonna, go over towards where the food is, but he's gonna be keeping all of his attention on Zach to make sure that this guy doesn't just start wailing on him.
As he turns, he notices the man with darker hair also watching the scene, but along with a lot of other eyes who are pretending to mind their own business, but had seen the whole argument. The suspicious man, as I'll call him, doesn't really seem to have an emotion on his face, but he stares at you.
This distracts Liam enough that he kind of takes his attention away from Zach a little bit, and he looks back at this guy and makes direct eye contact and quirks his eyebrow at him.
The man blows out a puff of air through his nose, and then he turns back to his own food, which hasn't really been touched, while everybody else is, more or less now that the scene is over, busy stuffing their face, getting ready for a hard day's work. Adrian, the next day, you can't wake the man up.
Great. Fucking awesome. Great. Love this. Good.
The sailor will not come to. That's all.
He dead?
Nope. He is very much still breathing, but you can't wake him up. How do we feel?
He feels very bad and very panicked. He doesn't know if he should tell anybody about this. Or if he doesn't tell anybody, they're gonna come in and be like, what the fuck, why didn't you tell us about this?
It's okay. I'm actually gonna leave Adrian with that for a sec. Because this is the scene we pass by as we pan up from the middle deck. We look in on the surgeon for a second, and then we go all the way up to the quarterdeck, where Daniel already is, along with the other privates, doing some morning exercises. They just finished doing a set of muscle training, and now they're doing some slight cardio just around the deck, once or twice. Riggers are starting to come up. They are not nearly as boisterous as they had been the 2 mornings before, and maybe it's because everybody is unsettled. There has been a terrible accident, and today is the day they should be finding the ghost ship. Or, that's what the crew has affectionately named this. Daniel, you've been up there for the morning, and you have seen that there is fog on the water. It is not so thick. You can still see about a couple miles ahead of you guys, but fog has started to settle in along the cold Atlantic waters.
Is it a similar looking fog to the one that abducted us to this plane of existence?
Sure, fog's fog. It doesn't smell the same, though. It doesn't smell sweet. It doesn't smell of rot. You smell the sea air.
Okay.
And you smell the bodies of your fellow people.
He
Because
still squints at it.
it's stinky. Oh, it squints back. No, I'm sorry. The crew gets on deck and everybody starts their morning. Those who have gone down to retrieve the cords are starting to come up with these very heavy cords in line. The lieutenants are on deck, overwatching everything. The boatswains and the midshipmen are telling people what to do already. And the privates are excused to get into full gear. They are expected to have their bayonets on them should anything be awry. The hunters are on the deck. You haven't seen much of them, except for Garrig the other night. But the 2 hunters are now on the deck of the ship. They're on the quarterdeck, close to the furniture boats, and they are just walking around. They're making sure they're not in the way of anybody, but they are keeping an eye out in the fog. Work is hard. Your line of vision starts to get worse.
Daniels?
Everybody's. The ship's.
Everyone on deck.
The fog is coming in thicker. You can see the lieutenants talking with the captain. There is some muffled discussion, but everybody should be so involved in their work that no one can really hear or understand what they're saying. And of course, Adrian is still below deck.
Panicking.
The winds get choppier. The waves get wilder. The fog rolls in heavier, and it begins to rain. Zachary looks over at Liam, unsure, as he holds something steady. The sails are being beaten by the wind, and it seems that the wind is blowing in several directions, causing the sails to bow and flap. It's undetectable which way the wind is really going. This catches the eyes of the lieutenants, who start ordering you to start taking down a lot of the sails. Keep the mainsails hoisted, but the others start to furl up. This means, Liam, you have to go up and help furl up some of the sails as it rains.
Spiffing.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to keep your grip on ropes that are becoming drenched in cold rainwater. The boat starts rocking a bit harder. A wave comes up and hits the boat so hard. Liam, I want you to make a saving throw. And you can do that with a d20.
Okay. Am I adding dexterity to this?
Yes, please.
Or strength?
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Oh, well then I'll do strength.
Yeah, because you're a strong boy.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna do strength. Nat 20, actually.
You hold on. You have a firm, hard grip on these ropes, and you don't slip even slightly. You can see that a man above you kind of loses it for a bit, but then brings his arm around. So everybody's kind of having trouble and starting to look a bit nervous, because that was a hard hit. And then someone yells, "Off the bow! Off the bow, sirs! A light!" And you see within the fog a yellow light, and it is blinking out the message, S-O-S. Pause. S-O-S. Daniel, you are instructed, "Marines, to the bow!" And you all run to the bow, but the ship gets hit again with another strong wave, and I want you to roll a d20.
Okay. 8.
8.
Can I add...
Do you want to add dexterity?
I
You don't have dexterity. Do you want to
I
add
have
strength?
defense.
Do you want to add strength?
It's 11.
Not bad. You are able to regain your footing, but not without knocking into somebody.
Is it my
And-
boyfriend?
Yeah, and he hits like he's about to go over the side of the ship. And
Can I grab him?
He's fine. He catches himself because he hits the guard of it.
I almost knocked him off the ship.
Yeah, you almost knock him off the ship.
What a fool I am.
And he looks at you, not with blame, but his eyes seem to ask, "Are you okay?"
My eyes are also asking, are you okay?
And 2 other people behind you, 2 other privates push you forward ahead. You're supposed to be looking at this ship, whose outline is coming into view the closer you get to it.
I kind of grab Alan's arm and help push him forward.
The boat is rocking so terribly, Liam, you have lost sight of Zachary. You do not know where he is. You are just sort of stuck up on the masts, holding on for dear life as the boat continues to be rocked in several directions at once from horribly choppy waters. And even the lieutenant seem to have, and the captain, and anybody who's just standing on the quarterdeck seems to have a lot of trouble keeping their legs. The Marines are standing as best they can, but the boat is also kind of forcing them to take a few steps right or left, depending. And the flashing of the light in the fog continues as the outline becomes a bit clearer, and the fog around you starts to become so thick that you almost lose this outline. You can hardly see but a couple feet in front of you, and the rains start coming down, and they are like icy knives on your skin, cold and hard and pelting you as if to cause welts to start forming on your own skin. And Adrian, down below, you're having trouble even standing, and I don't know if you want to have anything to do with the patient that's in your office, but the table is starting to slide as well.
Okay, well, he's definitely trying to hold the table still. Like a hand on either side of the table, if he can reach that far.
The ship is swaying. A storm has come from out of nowhere. There is screaming, and there is panic, and there is this innate sense that you are being swallowed by the fog, and someone is yelling, but you can't see why they're yelling this, but they're yelling, "How is he doing that? How is he doing that?" And everything suddenly goes very quiet. Liam, you are no longer hanging on to rigging. Adrian, you're no longer below deck. Daniel, you're no longer looking at a ship that may or may not be there. The sun is bright. You are looking at your captain as he addresses you. Daniel with the privates, Adrian with the lieutenants, Zachary and Liam with the ship hands. As the captain says, "Trade winds have been far better than predicted, and as a result we are pleased to inform that we will be arriving a day earlier than expected. If the HMS Gallant is out there and still afloat, we are to provide assistance and allow her crew room to heal, thus our small crew at launch. I have no doubt that even if the ship's surgeon was still alive, he'd be in no shape to stitch any man. Therefore it will fall on you, Dr. Edwards." He turns to you, Adrian, and gives a nod, "to see to the men's needs. In which case, I expect every one of you to be careful and not to do anything that might give Dr. Edwards unnecessary work. So with that, I dismiss the rest of you back to your duties. Dismissed."